Right. Okay. So this is my spiel on running. I'm going to share my screen in a minute. I have run since I was 11. There's people here that I completely admire for their running, and who have helped me with my running by motivating me. So I feel really honoured that you're here. So thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen and hopefully it's going to work. It's a bit like when you do Instagram live and then it doesn't work because I can't move this thing here. Yes, I can. So slideshow, play from the start, there's no music. Okay, what a cool little slide is that? So running, this is about what works for me: warm-ups, cool downs, eating, training plans, etc., etc. Please let me go to change. I've never used one of them. Okay, so a bit about me. I'm not going to talk about this forever. I'm going to make sure I've got a little bit of time. So when I was 11, I went on a choir school trip. I'm a really bad singer. If anyone ever asked me to sing, I'm not very good. I thought I was great, and so I was probably like very loud at age 11. Anyway, we're in Germany or something, and my geography teacher's husband was with us and said, who wants to go for a run in the morning? So my friend Mary and I were like, who's still living in Cheltenham with me, we were in North Devon growing up together, and we were like, yeah, we'll go. And we ran a couple of mornings, and then this guy, Bill O'Donnell was his name, he basically said to me, Kirsty, you've got a natural flair for running. I don't know if I actually did. And he said, you should come to my club. And I went to the local running club, which was Bideford Blues, and I was put with a coach called, I can't remember my first coach's name. I was put with a coach, and then he quite liked what he saw, so he put me with another coach called Andy Glover. I was 11 then, and he was my coach until I was 18. My parents used to call him God, literally. Whatever he told me to do in running, I did. So in my thing, I had a coach who believed in me. He saw what I could do. I wasn't the best runner, but I tried hard. I worked hard. I turned up for training. So from the age 11 to 18, in all weathers, on a Tuesday and Thursday night, 6 to 7, I trained. And at the weekend, I would race or I would run. I was only county standard. I think we had Southwest, but we didn't really do Southwest. But and I did cross country and I did athletics. So in that time, I was so lucky. I was trained. I used to be sick. I used to be injured. I used to cry, but I never gave up. I look at now and I'm quite proud of myself. I could have cross-country county championships and I'd be in the top 10. My event ended up being 400-metre hurdles, and I was county champion for that for 3 years. But I think it's actually because no one was mad enough to do that event of 400 hurdles. It's in the time of Sally Gunnell. She was my idol, so I thought I was like her. So that was cool, but you had to work really hard for it. So with running, it is a team sport, and I think we're all a team here, like an Infinite Balance. We're a team, even though it's an individual sport. Everyone who's here, I see everyone's a team because you're supporting each other. With running, what I've really learned about myself, you have to really dig deep. You want to give up all the time. How many times? Anyone there wanted to give up with running? Yep. Many times. I used to dream before races. I used to get horrendously nervous and be sick during the night. So I was really nervy, but it was my life and it was great. So that's from 11 to 18. And then when I was 18, I went to New Zealand for a gap year, worked in a school teaching sport. I didn't run so much, and I put on enough weight that when I sent a picture home of me, my parents didn't actually know who was speaking to them in the video. So I probably went from a size 8 to a size 14, 16 because I wasn't training and I didn't realise the impact of training on my body, and I didn't know anything about calorie deficit. So I put on a lot of weight in New Zealand, but I didn't care. And then I went to college and joined the athletics team, and I never really became as good at running as I was before, but I still liked it. And then I fluctuate with weights all the time. And when I was getting married to Simon, I wanted to get fit and get my running really going. So my friend Kate Sproson, who I still run with now, dragged me. She's always my person to drag me to these places, to a triathlon club. And I trained really hard on the running and the swimming. I didn't actually do a triathlon, sadly. I'd love to. But I went from probably 11 stone to under 9 stone. Did I feel better about myself? No. Do my friends tell me I look gaunt? Yes. Did I look a bit skeletal? Yes. Was I stronger? No. I did feel good and I loved the training, but for me, for my body, it wasn't sustainable. And so I kept it going until I got pregnant with Caitlin. And then I tried pregnancy running, which was great for a while. And then when I was running, every time I came home, my tummy was swollen. And now this isn't, usually you can run, like with pregnancy running, you can run up to however many weeks. But it just didn't work for me. So I didn't really run throughout my pregnancy. But I do know lots of people who have run through their pregnancies and they're absolutely fine. So yeah, I had Caitlin, tra-la-la. And then my friend Kate, again, was like, come on, Kirst, let's go for a run. Now, I became really interested in postnatal fitness after this. So I went for a run and I came back and, sorry, it gets a bit gory, I literally looked like I wet myself. Because I just went for a run like I used to go for a run. And I was like, oh my goodness me. And it was a bit embarrassing. And Simon's like, oh my goodness me, what has happened to you? So I became really interested in postnatal fitness and started studying it. Even this was before I became a PT. And I mean, you can run postnatally, but your muscles aren't really strong enough. So anyone in postnatal fitness, my biggest thing is go slow, go steady. I was extremely competitive. I felt I needed to be running 8-minute miles. No, you need to really slow down. But that postnatal run comes to anyone coming back after injury. Go slow, get that competitive edge out of your way. Then I went to teaching, try that. And then the juicy bit, Claire's here actually, who went for a run with me once when I was poorly with fatigue. So before I got really poorly with fatigue, I just had, I had symptoms of tiredness, but now I know it was actually fatigue and I would run. And this is really important for you all to know. My speed, I couldn't get faster. I was running with Kate again. And my speed, it just wasn't there. And then I was running with Claire one day. See if I can see Claire. Hopefully she can remember it. And my vision was just blurred. And I carried on going because I was too competitive. And I tried to run through the fatigue, but you can't do that. And I kept going until I collapsed on Sherdington Road one day. And I couldn't actually speak. I'd said to Simon, I'm going to make myself better. I'm going to go for a 6-mile run. He'd gone to football. He's like, oh, Kirsty, don't be so silly. And I did. I got as far from my house up Childgrove Lane to Sherdington, which is like 2 miles. Couldn't see at all. My legs wouldn't work, went from underneath me, and I'm there sitting. And when I collapsed with fatigue, it didn't look I had collapsed on the floor, sparked out. It looked like someone was having a rest, but I couldn't see and I couldn't speak. And then poor Simon, I ended up texting him going, I think I spoke Sherdy Road or something, and he came to find me, and I didn't run for a while after that. So then I was in recovery, came back, and my big thing, recovering from stress, fatigue, from grief, anything that your body is telling you to slow down, go steady, don't rush it. Before I suffered badly from fatigue, actually, I did one marathon. I did the Brighton Marathon, which I trained really well for. And Des was a massive support to me throughout that as well. And the night before Brighton, everyone was saying, oh, Kirsty, take it steady, 4 hours is a good time. And Des texted me, she knew I was running really well. I think I was doing, my minute miling must have been about 7.5, 8-minute miling. And she said, Kirsty, you're ready. Believe in myself, because again, it's having someone to believe in yourself. And I ran it in 3 hours 56. I don't know how. Someone's not muted. You might need to mute. I somehow ran it well. Sorry, someone's going to have to. Someone's not muted. I can't mute everyone from here. And I rang my brother, who'd also done the Brighton Marathon. I was like, oh, Ken, I finished. And he was like, oh, what was your time? And I was like, oh, I don't know, about 3 hours 36. And my brother's very competitive and he went quiet. He's older than me. And he was like, oh, wait there. And he wasn't happy for me. And he came back and he went, what was your seconds? And they'd come through. It was like 3 hours, 36, 26 seconds. And I'd beaten him by 20 seconds. I was like, yes, get in. So he's gone back to run the Brighton Marathon since to beat my time, but I don't need to. I did the London Marathon as well. I did 4 hours 7, but for the last, from mile 9, I couldn't see because I actually had fatigue then. And my brother saw me at mile 15 and tried to get me to stop, but I didn't. And that was my turning point. And that's when I thought, right, take it steady. And really, that's when Infinite Balance was really starting to be born in my head of needing someone to stop. So that's my spiel, that's my story. Now, where I am with my running, I'm all about my chilled, chatty therapy runs. I tried to go out a few weeks ago, went fast going, oh yes, Strava, I want to show people what I can do. And I got injured. So I've gone back to my chatty, longer runs, speedy runs now and again, but that's where I am at the moment. Everyone will be at different things at different times. So that's my spiel. And then this is the more nuggety bits about running. So running, as you can see, has been a massive part of my life forever, really. And my dad was a runner as well. So I used to go and watch him do marathons. Anyway, everyone can run. This is really for beginners, but actually those who are more into running as well. It's good for us all to reflect. Start small and build up. There's not a requirement to be a runner. How many times do you hear people say, I can't run? So my husband always tells me I can't run. I'm not built for running. Well, he is, but he knows I'm better than him. But I'm saying the same about golf because he's better than me at golf. So that's just a joke between us. But there isn't any definition of who a runner is. Don't compare yourself to others. It's really easy to hear people talking about running and go, oh my goodness, I can't do that. It's really easy to see people on social media and go, oh, I can't do that. In our virtual run club, it's easy to go, they've just done 10 miles, I can't do a mile. Everyone is different. We all progress at different rates, different focus at different times. I've gone through focus when I've wanted to be speedy and I've worked hard at that. And where I am at the moment, I'm quite happy whatever pace I'm going at. We all have different journeys. And the biggest thing is being kind to yourself because we put far too much pressure on ourselves. Okay, this is any runners who are looking at this. And I can see some therapists there as well, and PE teachers will probably all hopefully be singing from the same hymn book as me. So with running shoes, I meant to bring mine in actually. You want to make sure you've got proper running shoes. You don't have to have a gait analysis. Up and Running, I used to work above Up and Running and I love them in Up and Running. They'll do gait analysis, but their shoes are quite expensive and they can range from 80 to 120 more. But it is worth it. If you're going to be running more than twice a week, get some decent running shoes. There's some people here who are ultra runners, and I bet you maybe at the end they'll tell us what kind of running trainers they have. I put a note in a run group the other day, what trainers do people have? Everyone's got different. I use Brooks Adrenaline because I don't seem to get injured. I still get injured now and again, but I don't get injured much from them. I used to love these. I used to love Nikes before I got to know Up and Running. And the boys taught me about the support. You need to have that support of your shoes because it really helps. If you do keep getting injured, go and see a specialist, don't suffer with it. You might need to get your gait tested. Ria Cooper is a sports therapist, is given us a discount. There's, Nikki is here. I'm always telling people to go see Nikki Martin down the road. She's brilliant at sports massage and really personal, but don't suffer in silence. That's the biggest thing. I mean, I've done it at times. Some of you are probably sitting there going, yeah, I've suffered with an injury. Make sure you get it sorted because it's just not worth it. Those starting out, Couch to 5K is great and really good. But what I find, it's quite structured and not everyone likes structure. So if you are just starting out, just start off with walk, jog, maybe 2 minutes running, 2 minutes walking, take it steady. You might want to start off with 3 rounds of that, then go to 5, or use landmarks. I use this in my interval training, which I'll talk about in a bit, using lampposts or trees or houses, going from bit to bit, and listen to your body. Just always listen. If you feel injured or you feel something tweaking, you stop, you pull back, you don't keep going. The problem with training programs is that we get so into them and so tunnel visioned that we forget to listen to our body. It is so important. If it's not working for you, you stop, you pull back, you talk to someone, you know, ring me. I love talking about running. Talk to a sports therapist, you know, make sure you're not going too hard. Okay, right, progression. So this is for everybody from beginners to advanced. Progression. So I've done some extra reading about running lately. I think this lockdown has been my learning lockdown. And looking a lot about progression. It's not linear. It's a bit like when people want the weight loss to be linear. If you try to go flat out the whole time, it takes a toll on your body mentally as well as physically. So elite athletes, this is what I was trying to work out. Most of them have got 3 key events a year. So why are we trying to burn our bodies out by going 100% all the time? Does anyone do that? Like, you're always on it going, right, okay. But we're not giving our body time to rest, which I'll talk about in a minute as well. So you want to work, maybe if you want to think of a yearly schedule of 3 key times during your year, or even 2 that you want to build up to. Quite a lot of people build up to the Cheltenham Half Marathon. A lot of people build up to a marathon. You know, that's enough really to a year, because we don't want to be constantly pummeling our bodies. Chill it out. I'll talk about this a bit more in a minute. Run with friends. There's a few people on here that run together, which is lovely. Music, your music tempo is really important. So you know the difference when I go out and if I feel like I want to have a bit of a boogie, I go out and have a run when I feel like I'm in a nightclub dancing. And then sometimes when I just want to chill out, I'll listen to Ed Sheeran, or I listen to a podcast if my mind just needs to work. I make the running work for me and my mind. With your progression, again, be flexible and make changes with how you feel. Too often we keep ourselves going, but we've got like women with our menstrual cycles, it has a massive impact on us. Our life commitments, work is crazy. Be kind to yourself. Right, this is for you. We've got a bit of a doing. You don't have to do, but you can if you want to. Just trying to put this so I can see. Okay, so this is probably a bit of an average plan. There'll be some people on here or watching this that run 4 times a week, or maybe 5 times a week, but you could do this on a scrap of paper now if you want to. So I've just scheduled out my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. So you're going to make a basic plan. Hopefully some of you have this already, to plan in your running, your strength and conditioning, and your rest. Even if you're not running, if you're gymming it, strength and conditioning it, you want to have a plan. I think in lockdown, a lot of us have exercised a lot, and we haven't quite got a plan of when are we working really hard. So for example, on this plan on Monday, it says run and strength conditioning. The run is my main focus on that Monday. The strength and conditioning comes second. On the Wednesday, the strength and conditioning is my main focus. The run comes second. On Friday, the strength and conditioning comes first. The Saturday, the run comes first, and then the mobility. This is just a really basic plan. If it was at the moment, I'm probably running 4 times a week. But this would be my general plan at 80%. So this is my main plan. So you might want to jot something down for yourself and think, when am I doing it? When am I doing some mobility that's just for me? When am I focusing on my strength? When am I focusing on my run? And I'll go into this a little bit more as well.
Can I ask a quick question, Kirsty? When you say Monday, I focus on the run, then strength and conditioning, do you mean literally I do run first, then strength and conditioning, or do you do a lesser amount of one than the other? What do you mean by that?
So that would be Monday. So that would be an easier run. If I could, no, Monday would be a harder run. So Monday, I'd want to try and get the run in before my strength and conditioning, so I can perform better for my run. However, if that wasn't able, I would do my strength and conditioning and make sure I have a rest first and then my run, because I want that run to be a good run. So that, would be like a 6 mile, good, decent 10K. Does that help? I'll talk about the runs a little bit more as well, because there's another slide. And again, it depends on your key focus for the month, the half, the year. So this bit is really important. Don't get greedy. I get greedy and I think, oh yeah, I'm feeling great. Like 3 weeks ago, I was like, yeah, I feel on fire. I'm going to go and do quick runs 3 times this week after I haven't really gone for quick runs for a while, and I hurt myself. So we don't want to get greedy and over-plan our running. And the biggest thing that I've found on this additional training is about this 80%. This keeps coming back. So you plan in for your 80%. You don't want to be going 100% with your running, otherwise you're going to burn out. So have your max capacity for your running 80% and 80% for your mindset. Think about life, thinking about planning for life. 80% is actually quite a lot, isn't it? But it really helped me when I was doing my plan. What is my stable brick plan that I won't really go under? I might go above a bit, but it's that in the middle. So on this plan, I would work out which one my easy run is. So you can probably see it's a Wednesday. So easy, I would say kind of therapy run. I call a therapy run a nice chatty run. Doesn't need to be mega slow. It can still be challenging, but it wants to be an easy, let my legs go. For that run, you might not want to think about pace. I'll talk about that again in a minute, I think. Oh, we're doing this one. So your easy run. So when you're doing your easy run, again, think about your 80%. You don't need to have a pace expectation. Go easy, listen to your body. Your challenging run, that could have a pace expectation. So if you're training for something, you'll match that to your run. I'll talk about intervals in a minute as well. In this plan, you might have intervals additional. So you might have intervals on a Thursday, or you might have it as your Wednesday or your Monday. I'll talk about intervals in a second. With easy and challenging, you don't have to have one easy and one challenging. It's just another way to look at it, because we don't want them all to be challenging. And what I have to stop myself from is not having every run as a challenging run, because my muscles, our muscles just can't cope with it. And the importance of strength and conditioning, I can't stress that enough, to get strength and conditioning in your week. The NHS guidelines are for us to do strength and conditioning 3 times a week. How many people do you know do strength and conditioning 3 times a week? Not many. And we're meant to be doing vigorous activity, 150 minutes. We're meant to be active for at least 30 minutes a day. How many people do you know that actually do that? I mean, many of us are not meeting the NHS guidelines. And this, with your running, you need to strength and condition. So one example, when I first started teaching football, it's not a plug for football, but when I first started teaching football and doing more core work, I remember doing the Tewkesbury Half Marathon, and I was literally flying because I'd never done so much core work, and I felt light. I don't know anyone else how I feel. When you've done more core work, you literally feel that something has picked you up because your core is so much stronger. So my thing about core, if you think of a tree, this is my tree. This is my weak tree in the wind. Yeah, it's flipping around. It's my primary school teacher and me. Okay, so that has got a really weak core. Yeah, oh, it's going everywhere in that wind. And then that core, that's really strong, that big oak tree with that strong core. In the wind, it's still. It's not wafting everywhere, and that is my analogy for your core. It is so important. I can't stress core enough. Anyone who doesn't do core strength conditioning is going to be sitting there going, okay. Okay, rest. How many of you actually have rest days and actually plan it in? So I've started every 4 weeks to have a deload week. And so I was getting tired. and a deload or an easy week. So every 4 weeks, so 3 weeks on, 1 week deload, 3 weeks on, 1 week deload. For that week, if I'm usually doing 3 runs, I might just do 1 run, or I might do 3 really easy runs and just make them really steady. This will help you maintain your progress and your fitness. This is important for everyone, runners, strength, conditioning, everyone. You can still be working out. So if you're coming to do my strength and conditioning through Zoom, you can still work out, but you don't go for the heavy weights that week. You would mix it up, you would go repetition. So some of you might have noticed last week, we did a lot of squats without weight. So I was trying to take the weight off from people and actually create in a deload week with people not realizing too much. So I'm trying to put in those rest weeks within my sessions on every 4 weeks. You'll probably notice them now, but I don't want you to like work less because it's still about working. So think about your rests. It's really important. Right, interval sessions. This was a massive part of what I did as a child. I did intervals most Tuesdays and most Thursdays. Throughout all that time with my wonderful coach, he was a bit scary. I literally did whatever he told me to do. You had to warm up and you had to cool down. There was no question about it. The warm-up would be a relaxed jog, and it was a chatty jog. Sometimes I'd go off going, oh yeah, I'm going to go for it. And you would just be told, stop. You always have to be able to chat on that warm-up. It needs to be a chatty. Everyone here should be warming up for their run. Your first mile should be nice and steady. It shouldn't be go blast. Warm up, and I'm going to show you some of these and you can join in if you want, so I can just be doing them. So about a mile warm up and then have a stop and then have a dynamic stretch, which is a moving stretch, which is a lot what we do in our sessions. But it's basically moving under the stretch, leg swings. I'm going to have to stop the share here and try and get it to go back. So with your dynamic stretches, really easy on a lamppost is your leg swings coming forward and back. I did Marathon Club with the Hathleys last year, which was brilliant. And we'd all be swinging our legs 8 o'clock in the morning. So if you did this, coming back and forth, coming forward, it makes you feel quite nice before your run, coming up and out. And so you're just dynamically stretching. I can send you more dynamic stretches as well. All my mobility ones that I put on Instagram can be used. All these movements, you might not want them to be doing them but it's all under movement, all movement through the range of movement, creating tension. And really important that we do it, and let's hope I can share my screen again now. Here we go, it's all fine. Oh, and bounding. So this is what I did a lot when I was younger, and I don't do enough now. Activation. So you go side to side. I should have shown you that when I was there. So you're basically going side to side. Netballers do this really well. High knees, heel flicks, front to back steps. So think of you seeing your netballers on the netball court before they start. That's what we should be doing with running. Bounding is a really good way. If you find that you're not getting the pace that you want to do, bounding is really good. So you're running like a gazelle. And basically you run with really big steps, only for probably 20 meters, and you're getting your knee drive. So those long distance runners here, this would be really good for you as well, because long distance, our knees stay low, don't they? Whereas give them that movement to come up, so you're bounding. Okay, so intervals, especially for those people who are at a bit of a lull with where they are with their speed, or just at that bit of stop in their running, this is going to be really good for you, and it would be really good for you to do once a week. This is an example of a session. So if you had a 10 kilometre, not 10, yeah, 10K goal, and you wanted to run at 9-minute miling, for example. So around here you find a lane. We've got Childgrove Lane that's perfect for intervals. It's as if it's been made for interval training. Your session might be 5 lots of 800 metres at race pace with recovery. So your race pace, if your goal pace is 9-minute miling, that's your interval pace, and you recover. So when I used to do this, we would do things like 800 metres with 90 seconds recovery. But what the science is saying, you don't have to just have 90 seconds, you can have longer to recover if you need to, because the aim is to be able to try and run at that race pace. So in your recovery, keep moving, you walk or your easy jog. You don't want to be flat on the floor. If you are like that, you're going too quick. So you don't have to be going at 9-minute miling for your 800 metres. It might be you start off at 10-minute miling or 11-minute miling and work up to it. But this is just an example. It's really important to listen to your body. There's no reason why any of us need to be going to do intervals and being sick at the end of it. We don't need to do that. It's really about listening to your body. And so there's loads of different ones you can do with intervals. If you could find a hill, in Cheltenham, we've got Battledown. That's a great place for hills. And you go for hills. You give yourself a distance, for example, 200 metres, and you do 10 lots of 200 metres. If your distance is quite short, for example, 200 metres, do more of the reps. If your distance is longer, do less reps. So say you're doing 400 metres up a hill, you'd probably only want to do 3 or 4 and give yourself a long recovery as well. There are different energy systems you can be working. Use your anaerobic and your aerobic system. If you're wanting to work on your speed, go for it on that sprint, on that interval, have a short sprint and you have a really long recovery. When I was training for 400 metres, I had to work on my lactic acid level. So I had to do, it was horrific. It was like 400 metres. That was a 90-second recovery. I would do 400 metres, 90 seconds recovery, 400 metres, 90 seconds recovery, because I had to increase my lactic acid threshold. Do you ever get that when you're running and your legs feel really heavy? So when you run a 400 metres and you're going at full pelt, when you get to 300 metres, your legs literally stop. So I had to work that threshold. Anyone that wants to talk any more about thresholds, contact me. But it does help you with your endurance. Okay, warm down, really important. How many people don't warm down? How many people get home? Need to go and do this and do that. Really, really important. You again should be jogging steady, especially with intervals. If you've been for a run, you might just jog for half a mile. If you've been doing intervals, definitely jog for a mile, because our blood pools and it causes stiffness and it can end up getting injured because our muscles are all soft and malleable, and then suddenly we're stopping, the blood doesn't know where to go, it just stops and it makes us stiff and it's hard to go, because we want to be able to be consistent with our exercise. And again, in your warm down, put in your dynamic and your static stretches. The moving stretches are really good because it helps you to cool down. Static stretches are okay, but I mean, science 10 years ago just went static. Science now says dynamic. Dynamic is a moving stretch. So if we're going with the science, we're going dynamic. You've just got to keep an open mind and see what works for you as well. Hopefully that helps with the intervals. Those who are not doing interval sessions, pop it on your plan, even if it's once every 2 weeks. It does really, really help. Okay, the long run, this means something for everyone. So a long run for some people might mean 30 miles, some might be 20, might be 10, some people the long run is 3 miles. We're all individuals. The long run, I was listening to some elite coaches the other day, and this is what they were saying about the long run. It's individual to what it means to you. Slowly to build endurance. Try not to worry too much about the pace. I'm a nightmare. I'm always looking at my watch for the pace. but make it about time on your feet, especially those starting out with the long runs. If you're training for an event, I know there's nothing really at the moment, but there are virtual events. It's really important you taper 2 weeks before an event. Even if you're trying to get a PB, taper at least a week before you want to get that PB, because your muscles need to recover and rest. If you are going for a long distance, use a program to support with your distance. There's lots of programs, and I've been given some programs from these elite coaches with the course I did. And they've given me like 5Ks, 10Ks, marathons, and they look really good, so I can share them as well. But there is lots, but get a program, but also with the program, don't be completely stuck on the program. Right, food, oh my goodness, I've had so much experience with food and what not to do. When my mum used to pick me up from school, so I'd get back from school at 5:30, training would be at 6. And the amount of times I'd be so hungry and eat and then feel sick when I was training, but quite often I just had a banana. So I wouldn't be ill. So even now when I run, I always make sure I'm well hydrated, but not too well hydrated. Otherwise I will need the toilet. So I try not to drink an hour before I run. It is going to be different for everybody. I always take a drink with me. I did, some of you have probably done this, the 20-mile Gloucester run. It's around Quedgley and it's a loop and loop and loop. And for some reason, I didn't actually take a drink with me. I just assumed there'd be drink stations. There wasn't. And I've never been so thirsty in my life. Doing 20 miles with nothing to drink. It was horrendous. So if you see me going for a 3-mile run, I've got a drink with me. I'm so scared of feeling like that again. Take a running bottle, you know, make sure you've got a special running bottle. And also some people have got the Camelbacks when you can just pop it in. There's, I know there's a couple of people here that have got them. Okay, if you've got a long run, the night before, have a nutritious meal. Quite often people are having bits of the kids' chicken nuggets or fish and chips on a Friday night, but make sure you have a nutritious meal with carbs and protein, but it's healthy, balanced, you know, 50% carbs, at least 20% protein, fats about 30%. So you've got a healthy, balanced meal the night before, because that is going to give you the energy for the next day. Don't go low carb on that day. And before you run, I always have something light. 2 hours before I run. This is different for everyone, and it'd be interesting if people want to say it at the end. But 2 hours, any meat, I always found, especially when I raced, it was even a sandwich 2 hours before, any food to digest. If anyone's getting a stitch, it could be linked to what you're eating and drinking. My stitch thing that I was taught was if you've got a stitch on your right hand side, when you're running, when you need to plant your foot down, you plant your left, when you plant your left foot down, you exhale. So if I'm running, when I need to exhale, it's the opposite side to the stitch. So I'm running, but I can't exhale on every foot plant. That helps me, and it's helped lots of other people as well. Some other people might have little things for stitches, but stitches are a nightmare. My son, 10, he tries to be running and he gets a stitch, but I'm sure that's to do with his general running endurance as well. If you need a toilet and run, you know, don't suffer alone. Make sure you can plan in to go to the toilet and you know where the toilet stops are. When I was marathon training, we always stopped off at a Sainsbury's somewhere. Long distance, the gels, the shot blocks, I kind of put approximate 8 miles plus, but it's different for everybody. So it depends what suits your stomach. Never take them for the first time on a race, and never ever have a new pair of trainers on the first day of the race, because you will literally have blisters and lose your toes. But gels, shot blocks, there's loads of different ones to try. Personally, I like the shot blocks, but I know lots of people like the gels. It's whatever suits your stomach, because it can make you feel a bit ill, but they are great in giving you that extra boost. If you're struggling with your run, and you'll find you get to, say, 6 miles and you want to get to 10 and you just need that little bit extra, have a go at gels and shot blocks, because they're for it. And also things to put in your drink. Lucozade, and you can get special tablets, hydration tablets in Up and Running, which will be hopefully open soon. I'm nearly done. Race day, if you're on a race, never have something different on your pre-run meal. And breakfast. Breakfast, always good, things like porridge. Lots of people have different things, but you want to be on your long runs, you want to make sure that you're fueling your body. Okay, running technique. This was really interesting when I was listening to these coaches. They were like, don't worry about technique. Some of the runners, best runners in the world, have wonderful and wacky techniques. Why worry? I remember a woman that was called Lorraine. She was amazing, and she used to run like this, and she was so quick, you know. And I mean, I've had people try and change my running style. I stick my bottom out, I look like a duck. But your running style is right for you. Don't worry unless you're getting continuously injured. If you keep getting injured, get your gait tested, see a specialist. Ria Cooper has offered us a discount. She's a running specialist, and she'd be really good to see if you do keep getting injured. Running technique, right, this works for me. You could even try it on you. So this was taught to me when I was doing 400 hurdles. So they were trying to stop me running looking like a duck from a bum stick out. It didn't quite work. So as if you've got a pull through your hips. So pretend you've got a long pull through your hips and you pull it up. So you're bringing your body up. And what they said to me is, think of the race horses. They don't slump down, do they? They're up, and they've got a lovely, lovely, beautiful gait. And that's what we want to try and be. Pretend you've got a puppet string. Someone is pulling you up from the crown of your head. It brings your shoulders back. It means that you can breathe. When we're running like this, you know, open your breath, shoulders relax. Who's ever been running and they suddenly realize they're like that with their hands, the shoulders, relax yourself. If you're feeling tired, relax your arms. If you feel your knee is too low, do the bounding drills we talked about. The other thing that was interesting with the coaches who were saying foot strike is individual to you. Who's ever seen runners flapping like that? You know, their foot goes flat, or they run on their toes, or they have a heavy heel strike. Again, they were saying it's only an issue if you're getting injured. If you're getting injured, then you'll need to do something about it. If it's working for you, fine. When it gets hard, it always gets hard, use your arms. How often do we not think about our arms and think about how we're powering through? Use a landmark, slow it down enough that you don't need to walk, and focus on your breath. Now, I'm really passionate about breath. If I'm running hard, someone can hear me coming, so got a deep breath in, and then I push it out. So I always taught, get it in, and you're going to utilize that breath in a millisecond, chuck it out. Breathe it in, chuck it out. It might be you don't need to breathe so frantically, and you might just be able to keep that nice, gentle breath. Use the breath to work for you. Quite often people go, oh, I haven't thought about my breath when I'm running. But your breath, when you were struggling and you're doing that last K and you're wanting to get a time, your breath and your arms will get you through, and your mind. Okay, I'm nearly done. I'm talking a lot here. Okay, let's prevent injury. Oh dear. Okay, I'm quite often, you know, that I'm getting injured. Good trainers, really good trainers, running trainers, running on softer surfaces, at least one of your weekly runs, especially now the weather is better. Go to a hill, go to a park, even incorporate some grass within your run. Look at your route, plan your route, and think, right, where can I have a bit of a park just to give my joints a little bit of ease? Strengthen. The science is stretch and mobility are not going to help your range of movement as much as strengthening. Your strengthening is going to help your mobility more than anything. Your squats, your lunges, your unilateral work, single leg work is brilliant. Anyone that trains with me, no, we do loads of single leg, we do loads of squats, lunges, core, and we do arms. So a lot of my programming comes from being trained as a runner. Recovery, Warm up and cool down, we've talked about that. Recovery after a run. I didn't talk about long distance and going into a bath that is cold. If you're marathon training, anyone who's been doing marathon training, you might have a quick little ice bath. I think Joe Wicks has just got one in his house actually, and a sauna. And then refuel. So within half an hour, you want to have something to refuel, some nutritious food, some carbs, some protein, and rehydrate. You need to drink more if you're doing long runs, especially if you're half marathon or marathon training. You need to drink more than you think, and you might need to get some special hydration tablets, can't remember what they're called, that up and running cell, and you put them in your drink. Electrolytes to help replenish your body. But you don't have to train for events. You can just be running for fun, but you can still get injured running for fun. We need to think about your planning, your rest days, knowing deload, knowing it's progressive. Now, recording our runs, we can get completely obsessed by this, but by recording the details of your runs, you can be more objective in what you're doing, and you can avoid overtraining. So think of it positively. Some people get, oh, you get obsessed by your watch, but actually my watch is making sure I don't overtrain. And I've used Strava for the first time this year. And again, it's been really good to make sure I'm not overtraining, and I've got a variety of runs, of routes, and I've got different types of runs. Anyone who wants to plan out the run, Mapometer is a really good source just to plan out your run to know the distance. And then you've got the usual apps, Strava, Mark My Run, Night Running, using your watch. We've got an Infinite Balance community group. I don't think many people are on it, but it just means people are on it there. There's loads of different groups of Strava. But it's quite fun. I mean, I'm quite a newbie to Strava. And then I've only got 2 more slides. This one is probably the most important of it all. Stay safe, enjoy running, but stay safe. Keep your eyes on the road. If you've got headphones, make sure they're not at full blast, because quite often you don't hear cars. You want to be able to hear. Wear high vis, not only for dusk and the dark, but also in the day so people can see you. Run in well-populated areas. Run in the areas when dark. Take your phone and get people to make sure they've got Find My iPhone and buddy up. That's the best way. You know, have a chatty therapy run, or it might be someone you have for a bit more of a challenging run. But the biggest thing with that, make sure you're on the same page, because it can be the worst thing if you want to go for a nice chilled run and that other person is needing to gun it. You need to know who you've got to buddy up with. Yeah. So these are my last words. Running, make it your own. My journey will be completely different to your journey. Lots of people here and people will be watching this and catch up. Everyone is different with their running. We all go through different times. Just make sure you plan, you look after yourself, you eat well, you warm up and cool down, you do your strengthening. It sounds like loads, but it's actually not, and love it, and let your body move and be proud of whatever distance you can do. Doesn't matter if it's walking, jogging, running, movement is great. I had a period of time in my life that I literally couldn't walk to the end of the street, and I didn't have anyone there to support me. I had my family, but I didn't listen to them or my friends. I needed someone to tell me to stop. I needed someone to tell me, go slow, go steady, Kirsty, you will get back. And then soon enough I did, and I found those people. And I'm so grateful, and some of those people are here, and they know they are here, and we all help each other, and it's really important to do so, but make it your own. So I'm going to take off the screen. If you've got any questions, I might not be able to answer them, but I have got places I can go to answer them. And there might be people here that are happy to answer, because we have got people here who have run a lot throughout their lives. People who've just started, people who've done Couch to 5K. And I've been talking for 50 minutes. Sorry, I thought I'd be talking for half an hour. So let me unshare my screen. Whoa. Oh, I thought I'd ended it then. Cool, okay, right. It is still recording. So if anyone doesn't want their face when recording, just take your video off. Okay, right, has anyone got any questions? tell you what, I'm going to keep myself on speaker, but I'll remove, oh no, I will keep myself, Nikki, sorry, I just put you on spotlight. I'll keep myself on speaker, and then no one feels, so it doesn't matter, and then no one can be seen. Has anyone got any questions or anyone to say anything? Just say something to me.
Yes, I know you posted it ages ago.
This is Des, who texted me the night before my Brighton Marathon and said, Kirst, don't be a namby, run hard.
I got your finish time almost spot on, didn't I? Yeah.
Just like, believe in yourself, just go and do it. Don't be ridiculous. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Now, when you say your in breath and your out breath, how many paces you do, I've often meant to think, what do I do? And I can't remember what you said.
So I do depends how quick I'm going. 1, 2, 3, out, 4, 5. Oh, yeah. In for 3, out for 1. In for 3, out for 1.
Just one.
So it's like a it's like a choo-choo train coming at you.
Because I think I do over 6.
I think it's over 2, but then that's right for you. So
yeah.
So Des runs a lot, and she does long distance, but it works for you, which is really good.
You'll be horrified as well that my last really long run didn't wear a watch.
Oh, that's good.
I didn't take one with me at all.
Did it feel good?
Oh yeah, brilliant, absolutely. Because it was 100k over 2 days, and I just thought, I just want to do this. I just want to be here. I'm just going to enjoy it.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So it is about watches, isn't it? We've got Claire and Debbie here, who are they're like ultra runners, and they've come to sit here for an hour, and I'm thinking, have I added anything?
It's been amazing. You've added loads, because I'm really terrible. Debbie knows already that I'm really terrible because I don't warm up stretches, and occasionally I forget to cool down. But what I do is I keep my shorts on and I go for a dog walk in the freezing cold weather, and that to me is my ice bath. Which is really ridiculous. But what you were saying about nutrition, I really struggle, and I don't know, I know that Kim's on here as well, and Kim ran the marathon with me, and at the end I was quite poorly, and it's just finding that right nutrition. And I know you've said about gels and other things. It's taken me 2 years to find something that works for me, and for me it's tailwind. I can't eat before any event. I get so nervous, I get so stressed, and even on my long trail runs that I do with Debbie, and the only thing I find that's worked is tailwind. So I say practice with your nutrition. Try everything and anything, and don't give up. You'll find something that works for you.
Yeah. There's when it comes to nutrition, it really is. I mean, the amount of times that I've gone out and I felt sick. I mean, even when you're training doing Zoom in here, you can so easily feel sick as well. But the gels can really help. But it usually is when you're going a little bit longer.
Yeah,
and what about
definitely.
trainers? What about trainers? Does anyone want to see?
Trainers, I haven't got amazing trainers. I've just got Carry Malls, but they work for me. And if I find a pair of trainers that I really love, I buy 2 pairs. And I recommend, if anybody is training for anything, or even if you're not training, always get 2, because you can fluctuate between the 2, because there's nothing worse than getting to an event or a day that you want to go for a really nice run and going in a brand new pair of trainers and getting blisters. It just ruins your run completely.
Definitely. And the other thing about trainers is to go bigger. Sorry, I don't have to get your spotlight now. I just keep myself in spotlight, trying to get away from my spotlighting. With trainers, my feet are 6 and a bit, and I wear size 7 trainers. So when I did this Gloucester 20k without any water, 20 miler without any water, I also had size 6.5 trainers, and I lost. Some of you might remember this. I lost 8 toenails. Really sore. I was working in Chapel Spa as PT, and I couldn't walk. And I didn't know what had happened. And I had such bad blisters underneath my toes. I lost all my toenails. I think we're back though. It was fine. So yeah, just go bigger. Sorry. So some people go, oh, it's gross. And the other thing is pelvic floor as well. you know, it's, as women, it's really difficult. So to help pelvic floor is your core exercises, your back exercises, and get your strength and conditioning, because that helps your pelvic floor brilliantly. And also, don't drink too much before you go to help. And you can always wear something. You can always wear a pad or something to help you. And make sure you know where the toilets are on your run that are open, and take some antibacterial hand spray with you.
So I was going to say, because that's the nice thing about trail running. You've always got a bush.
Yeah. And trail running is great. And what I'd love to do,
It is.
someone said to me today, Kirsty should do a running club, and I would love to do something, but maybe when we can, once a month, we can get together on a Sunday morning and do a run, a trail, and there's enough of us that know routes, and we can walk, we can jog, we can run. I'm not in this as a competitive person. It is about community, and it's about enjoying running, and yeah, and it's about getting back on the horse. And if you have had an experience with running that hasn't been great, come back in and have a go, and just make it work for you. Gemma, can I show you falling over? So lovely Gemma, she sent me a picture a while ago, and she's fallen over and she's hurt her knee. It was really bad, wasn't it? And she did get back, and she started running again. But you're enjoying walking at the moment, aren't you? You know, which is great. She'll get back running tomorrow. And but we all have falls. We all have different ups and downs. It's really about making it for you and talking. And you know, I'll help you. Anyone here will help each other. Anyone watching this and recording, just shout out. And it's about not having to go through it alone. But running is my love. And yeah, and hopefully I've inspired you either to run, helped you in some way or other. But yeah, does anyone get any other questions? I'm just talking.
Yes, please. I just wanted to know if anyone's got any recommendations for, not gels, because they really don't agree with me. I had terrible problems with those, but I'm looking into the blocks, or anything else that I can use on a longer training run.
Shot blocks. I much prefer shot blocks. So shot blocks are like jelly. It's like
Yeah.
a bit of jelly, and I don't have a whole shot block in one go. I just bite a little bit off at a time.
Okay.
And that really helps me. So at 6 miles, I'll have one little bit. And
Yeah.
6, 9, 12 every 3 miles.
There's also something called Tailwind, which I find really good. It's
That's
got
right.
electrolyte and carbs in it, so it's really good for you. Like, I don't know, it's something to recommend as well, because that's what's worked for me. But I'm not
Thank
saying it's going
you.
to work for you, but it's an idea as well.
Yeah, that sounds really good. So I haven't done long distance for a little while, Claire, so that sounds really good, Tailwind.
Yeah, it's
Just,
also good for short distance.
jelly
It's good for
babies or-
anything. Sorry.
I just eat jelly babies
Jelly.
and Roundtree's fruit gums.
Okay.
A pack of them.
That's good. Anyone else? Have we inspired anyone? Does anyone, just not a question, say, have you been inspired, or do you, I scared you off?
Kirsty, I was just going to ask something about like training plans, because I'm doing Couch to 5 with Dawn at the moment because she's getting back out. And we just find you hit like week 4 and you're doing like 5 minutes walking for a few minutes, then 8 minutes walking for a few minutes. Then week 5, they have you running 20 minutes.
So
You
stop.
make this like big leap, and she starts panicking.
Yeah.
You know,
So
even the week before she's doing it, she's starting to panic and go, oh, but we've got to do 20 minutes next week.
So
And
that's
I'm
the biggest thing.
you can't do it, you can't do it. We just won't.
Yeah, don't go with the plan, make it your own. So work
Yeah.
and just keep going, just make it your own, and just look at it. And you've got that Couch to 5K plan. Go, okay, right, actually, we're going to put in some extra weeks and we're going to build up slow. That's the worst thing. I mean, I don't know if anyone's done like Runner's World training plans. I don't know if they are like that, but it was so much running, people would get injured. So you want to break it down and look back at that plan that I showed earlier. We'll send out my PowerPoint, but I would write a plan, but actually write your plan of what you're doing each week. I can always help you with that, Kim, and just have a phone call and we'll just break it down, because also it's about motivation. If Dawn's looking at it, anyone's looking at it, I was speaking to someone else, it's exactly the same Couch to 5K going, it's suddenly got too much. So you just make it your own. There's no time limit for it, is there? So we could do that over a chat. Anyone else? Come on, guys. Everyone's like, no, I want to go to bed now. Anyway, it's been really lovely. There's, you know, everyone's different with their running. It's been lovely to have you all here. I've really enjoyed talking about running and going down memory lane. I was talking to my brother tonight just before, and you know, and it's a lovely thing to do. And maybe one day my husband will join me for a run. Hey ho. Okay. Anyone want to say anything or put anything in the chat?
I was just going to add, finally, you're never too old to start running. I was well into my 40s, probably 46, 47, no, 45, when I started trying to run. And I did a half marathon just before my 50th. So you are never too old.
It's absolutely. And I'm going to put Emma on spotlight now. So Emma's, we were chatting yesterday, and she's training for half marathon, but she's not doing a half marathon, are you, Emma? You were just literally training.
Yeah.
Win yesterday. So Emma's had a sore glute.
Yes.
And I thought she'd be told that she should stop running because the impact, and physio today said,
Ooh.
keep running.
I can carry on doing everything. It's just my pain threshold. As soon as something feels too sore, then I stop.
Oh, so she
And after he stuck needles in my bottom.
So it doesn't mean when you go and see someone, they're not going to turn around and tell you, no, don't do it. So yeah, cool. Okay, well, I'm going to leave you guys to go and get excited about your running plans. I will put the PowerPoint on our Facebook group. I'll email it to all of you. So you've got my PowerPoint. You can do with it what you want to. And if you want to talk any more, let me know. Biggest thing is strength and conditioning, warm up, warm down, planning, rest. Actually, I think most of you need to put in rest and deload. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kirsty.
Thank you.